Benvenuto! Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to make homemade mayonnaise. I've always wanted to make homemade mayonnaise. I don't know why I haven't done it up to this point. I did do a test run just to make sure it would come out like it was supposed to, and it did. So we're going to make it together. And I recently saw a YouTube video and it was talking about the different ingredients and different mayonnaise and, GMO, modified soybean oil and so on and so forth. And I thought, okay, now's a good time to make homemade mayonnaise. So, of course, the main ingredient in mayonnaise is eggs, all right, and oil. And there's really just a couple ingredients to just kind of make a basic mayonnaise. I wanted to talk a little bit on the 50 recipes I looked at. Everybody says, use farm fresh eggs or, the eggs that are fresh as possible. Well, we don't have a chicken coop, so I sprung for very expensive organic eggs. There's no added hormones and no antibiotics, no synthetic pesticides, no GMO feed, and there's 13 essential vitamins and minerals in our eggs. But anyway, so I would say, I think you can basically use any kind of egg you want, but since I was trying to get away from those products in the commercial mayonnaise, I thought, okay, I'll get that. The other thing is oil. Now, every single recipe I looked at called for, of course, a tasteless oil. The vast majority of them said use avocado oil. Most commercial made mayonnaise is made with soybean oil. A lot of them, some of them said, just vegetable oil. Of course, you want a oil that has very little flavor. A lot of them said don't use olive oil because then you get the flavor of the olive oil. But anyway, so now several of them, they either called for vinegar or lemons. Now, I don't have lemons on hand all the time, but I always do have vinegar. So I thought if we like this and I'm going to make it, I'm going to use vinegar. This just happens to be white distilled vinegar. I'll put in the description of the, in the recipe, that you could use lemon juice also in the amount. Then they all call for some Grey Poupon or Dijon Mustard. Doesn't have to be Grey Poupon. Just any kind of Dijon mustard. And the only other ingredient is salt. Okay, now we got, so it's best if you can have your eggs at room temperature. It's not 100% necessary, but room temperature helps it emulsify a little bit better. All right, so now you can separate your eggs any way you like. I don't have an egg separator, so I'm going to take my egg, crack it in another bowl. Now, one thing, guys, you never, especially if you want to save your yolk, or if you're making eggs in the morning and you want sunny side up or over easy, you don't want to take your egg and crack it on the side of the bowl like that, because that's going to crack. That's going to make your yolk break. Just crack it, give it a slight tap on a hard surface, and you won't break your yolk. All right. So then, no other way to do this. I'm going to put my hand in there, and we want to drain off the yolk, and we want to spill some on the counter. So that's what we want. All right, let's wash our hand. And then really, the only thing you got to do, so we got our yolks, we need a immersion blender for this recipe. We can put that aside for now. We can put these aside for now. And really, you're just going to go in and put all your ingredients in. Of course, you need here we go. That's how you get whatever. I can't talk today, guys. But anyway, so now, one of the recipes I found called for a teaspoon of salt. I made it. I thought it was too salty. Surprisingly, Wade didn't think it was too salty, and he thinks everything is too salty. It was? Okay, all right. So I'm going to, for our taste, I'm going to reduce it to a half a teaspoon of kosher salt. All right. And I've got my cup. So for this recipe, and of course, if you want to double this, make more, just double everything. So I'm going to take our vinegar. Now, again, the recipe that I had started with called for 2 tablespoons. And again, I thought that was a little bit too much vinegar, so I'm going to put about 1.5. So again, the good thing about this is you can adjust this to your taste. All right? Like anything that you're making fresh or as fresh as possible. All right? And then, you know, a good teaspoon of Dijon Mustard. Let me rinse that off. All right, and now with the immersion blender, you don't have to worry about trickling your oil in. So now, I would have liked to make this in just a mason jar because it would look pretty, but my immersion blender wouldn't fit in, so I had to go buy a little container. All right. Now, of course, you can save your egg whites for breakfast tomorrow, or dinner for breakfast today. All right. So the only trick to this that I've seen over and over again is you want to put your immersion blender all the way in to the bottom and turn it on. So as you want to kind of see all of your oil emerge, and you might have to lift it up a little bit, but you want to get it to just to where all your oil is emulsified in with the egg, and how thick you want it. The longer you go, it'll get a little bit thicker, but I think that's good. Look at that. Mayonnaise! All right, I'm going to give it a little taste before we show everything off. I want to taste for the salt, and I think that's perfect. I still think it's got a little bit of that salty taste to it, but I think with the 1 teaspoon of salt, it was too salty. So if you decide to make this, I hope you do, because it is delicious. You experiment maybe with your first batch. I just want to get it all out of there. And if you want more salt, add more salt. All right, guys, that's really all there is to mayonnaise. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. We'll let it get cold. And if you want to see what we're going to do with this, Wade will put the link to what I'm going to use this for in the description. All right, guys, that's it. Ciao.